Okay. So we're going to do a little practice group for you here, a demonstration on how in your weekly practice groups in your offices, this round robin scenario can get everybody involved in the process, and great learning can take place. So in this scenario, I'll be the buyer, and we've looked at a lot of houses, and I'm frustrated with the fact that we just haven't been able to find exactly the right house. And we're sitting down, and we're going to have we're kind of do a debrief on why we haven't been able to find the right house so far. So, Amy, why don't you?
No, you start. You're the buyer.
Oh, okay.
You got to start. You have to start
Amy, I really appreciate all the time that you've given us. You've been absolutely fantastic, and the snacks and the drinks and all that. It's been just great. But we're getting a little worn down here, and we're kind of running out of time, and we're frustrated that we just haven't been able to find that perfect house yet.
Do you remember when we talked about what the perfect house looks like, and we talked about that 80% home?
Yeah, I do, but I don't know. I'm not sure we found the 80% home yet either.
Mm-hmm.
So, Don, how many houses have we looked at together, physically?
About 25.
About 25, and I was going to ask, and how many online?
Oh, and how many online?
Yeah, I guess there's been 15 or so online. I think we've looked at pretty much everything that's currently on the market. We're kind of in that waiting stage now.
So of all of those homes that we've looked at, tell me what the top 3 houses look like.
Oh, yeah, great. That's a great question. Our top 3 at the moment, the house over on 3rd Street, there's a house over on 7th Street, and the house over on Elm Court. Mm-hmm. Those would be our 3, mm-hmm. But we're just not feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tee you up here.
Okay.
So I have 2 questions. When you say just not feeling it, elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, we've always kind of felt like when we know the house the minute we walked in, and that just hasn't happened yet.
So let me jump out and jump back in.
Okay.
I was really going to ask him, of the 3, which one feels the closest? And then I was going to get him to describe that. But then when he said, we're not feeling it, I was compelled, because that was his closing thought, and I want to find out what not feeling it means. So I didn't tee you up the way I was hoping. Okay.
So out of all 3 of those, which one would you say was your top, and what did that home lack that was on your list?
Yeah, the one on probably the one on 3rd Street is our favorite, and I think what it was lacking was that it just didn't have quite the finishes in the kitchen that we were looking for.
So I'm hearing that finishes are important to you, but let me ask you this, Don. What did those 3 homes have in common that you were really attracted to?
The location, they're all in Windsor, mm-hmm. And they all fit our price range, mm-hmm. And the age of the house on all 3 was just about right.
So let me ask you a question. If the finishes on that number 1 house were the way you liked it, could you see yourself living in that house?
Absolutely.
So would you guys be willing to do any flipping or upgrading to the home?
I think within reason, yeah.
And if we could negotiate a price that would accommodate those, could you get excited about that house?
Now I hadn't really thought about that. That's a great idea.
Do you have a dollar amount in mind? The house is listed at $325, yeah. And at what price would you feel that you could move into that house?
Well, probably have to be no more than 310. We probably have to put 15,000 into it in order to make it work.
So this was perfect from my viewpoint. How long did that take? About 4 minutes.
Yeah, 3-4 minutes.
And this buyer has looked at 25 houses.
Yeah.
And by using the 3 core ninja techniques, rolling top 3, isolating what it is that is keeping them from, and he acknowledged that. I think we've just saved about another 3 trips in the car.
Yeah.
And would you all be happy to write an offer for $310,000 today?
Right. So one thing that comes up for me on this is that buyers oftentimes, in the heat of the moment, they think they're nowhere. but they're really much further down the line than they really are. And some great questions can isolate what's going on, maybe what's tripping them up a little bit. In this particular case, it had never occurred to this buyer that maybe they could do some improvements on the house rather than finding the house that was just right for them. Those were great questions.
And the other thing I'd love to point out, nobody presented anything here. We just one question after the time, and guess who made the decision?
The buyer.
The buyer.
Right.
We followed the process beautifully.
Yeah, very
So
good.
I'd like to give a high five to the team here. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. Yeah. And thank you very much for spending time with us today. Hope this is useful. Have a great day.